Hello, everyone. Welcome to Kempner Canucks. My name is RevTrev, and I'm so glad you're here. I produce Canucks content that is passionate, realistic, and honest. And today is a special day. I've been thinking about doing this for years and years, about doing a podcast. Now, some of you are like, RevTrev, you already do podcasting. Yes, I do video podcasting work, and we'll get into that in a second. But this is going to be my first ever audio content as well. So this is called episode 1. Now, here's the coolest thing. I'm a big, humongous Star Wars fan, and I thought episode 1 was a cool name to start with because it gives me that dramatic effect of the incredible music and the big ships that happen that fly by in each episode of Star Wars movie to start with. And I love the lightsabers and the characters and the Jedi and the ships and the guns and all of everything. I like everything about it. Okay. So I thought episode 1. Now I know a lot of you, if you're a Star Wars fan, you're not really a big episode 1. Probably you're not. That's not in your top 5, and that's fine. But I like the Mandalorian series a lot. I love Chewbacca, all that kind of stuff. Love going to Disneyland and seeing that. Okay, so how does that relate to the Canucks? Well, this is episode 1. This is episode 1 of my podcast, my audio podcast. I'm probably going to be showing this one day as a video as well. So I'm going to be ripping the audio off of here. Okay, so today I'm going to start at the beginning, episode 1. I'm going to share my story of why and how I became a Canucks fan, who my favorite players are, and how I got into going all in on making this Canucks, my own Canucks brand, my own brands. And so this is my first ever time doing this, and I've been making videos for about decades now. But in the last 3 years, I decided to make a channel specifically, a brand specifically on the Canucks. And I did it with multi-sports before. Didn't really fly well, obviously. I needed to be more focused. So I made a Kempner Canucks brand, and I started streaming to YouTube. I made videos for YouTube, but then I started streaming to YouTube and Facebook and X, which is new name for Twitter, as you know. And I'm also on Instagram and on TikTok. And I've even tried Blue Sky, and I'm just trying to get my name out there and just pump out great Canucks content. So I'm so grateful for my fans, my family, my friends, and other content creators who have watched my content, encouraged me in this process. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, but I love it. It's a hobby for me. And so let's dive in. Let's talk about the beginning, episode 1. Why I became a Canucks fan. Well, as you can tell, I am a passionate Canucks fan. I wish in the audio world could see my backdrop. I work really hard in my videos of making it really cool. And I've got cool Canucks memorabilia and stuff. It's amazing on the walls. You'll want to check it out if you're not watching, if you're just listening to this audio. But in order to be a true Canucks fan, you got to be resilient, right? It hasn't been easy. There's been a lot of disappointing moments, but there's also been a lot of incredible seasons as well. You got to have tough skin, though, to be a Canucks fan, because we've never won a cup. And just once in my lifetime, come on now, Vancouver, but we've been close 3 times. And honestly, I'm proud to be a Canucks fan. In fact, I had a friend to me and says, Trevor, you're a diehard fan, man. You're still wearing Canucks Canucks gear when we're the worst. And you know what? He's right. I love wearing Canucks gear. I love to be. I'm a proud Canucks fan for sure. Because we've been close 3 times to winning the cup, and I thought we were going to win it 2 of those 3 times. But I've also felt really low in my fandom. I mean, this year was not only did we come last, but I call it we came dead last. For example, we were 14 points behind the next worst team. That's how bad we are. And we went on a winning streak at the end and beat 3 playoff teams in a row in that last week or week and a half. And so we should have been even worse. But somehow we played really well. And that's how bad. We were dead last. And I, that already hurt, right? And we wanted to tank and we want to rebuild and all that kind of stuff. So I'm there, I get it. But here's the thing. When the Leafs and the Sharks leapfrogged us at the lottery draft, for me personally, that was a real low. The Sharks, what? They've had a top 5 pick for 4 or 5 years in a row. That's been frustrating. They leapfrog us and go to second. And then the Leafs, who've made the playoffs 8 years in a row. And the first year they missed the playoffs, they got the first overall pick. Listen, kids, life is not fair. And if you're a Canucks fan, it's hard. It's hard. But I'm a diehard fan. I grew up in the Cariboo in British Columbia, and our local team was the Canucks. And so fell in love with our local team, and they were on TV, on the radio, and most people I knew were Canucks fans. And now I live on Vancouver Island, and I live in the harbor city of Nanaimo, and I try to go to as many live Canucks games as possible. But the most I've ever been to in one season is 4, and that was just a couple years ago. And I love the opportunity to be close, to be able to hop in a ferry on the BC ferries, or the Hello ferry, actually is my favorite way to travel now, and get to a Canucks game. Now, my parents, my 3 brothers are all Canucks fans, right? No, me and my 3 brothers. There's 3 brothers. I'm the oldest. My other 2 brothers are diehard Canucks fans like me. My aunties and uncles cheer for the Canucks. And so we're kind of like that Canuck family. We don't really even talk about it. I mean, me and my brothers do a lot. But, in my parents' older age, now they watch a lot of Canucks games. It's crazy. So let me tell you about my very first game. My Uncle Kim surprised us one year at Christmas and bought us tickets to a Canucks game. Man, we were excited. So he brought my dad, and he was supposed to bring us 3 boys to go. And he got us tickets to go watch the game. And I don't remember a lot from the game, to be honest with you. It was either 91 or 92 season, or 92, 93. I don't remember what year, but we were going to go. He bought us also these black hats that had the skate logo on, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. And I can't even remember who was really playing, so I had to look it up. But before I get into that, my middle brother had started getting migraines, and they got real bad, and he couldn't go to the game. So he ended up going to the Children's Hospital. And cool story is, he met Ryan Walter there. And I remember, like, what, you met Ryan Walter? How cool is that? I mean, if you're gonna go to the hospital, at least you met a Canuck. We were in the seats and the nosebleeds, and it was great. It was so awesome. We loved it. And at least I think we were in the nosebleeds. And I remember us playing the San Jose Sharks. And so when I look up this team, guys, this team was awesome. If it was 91, 92, we're talking Kirk McLean, Troy Gamble, Dave Babbage, Doug Lidster, Lume, those guys, Greg Adams, Pavel Bure. I think that was his rookie year. Jeff Courtnall, Larionov, Nedved, Momesso, of course, Linden, Gary Volk, Ryan Walter, and Jim Sandlak. There's just to name a few. If that's the year, it could have been the other. So I was probably 15, 16 years old, and remember going. And so I thought that was really special that my uncle took me to my very first game. But guess what? I was absolutely hooked. I was hooked. Well, I was already hooked because I was just love sports so much. I was hooked as a young kid. So people say, RevTrev, what's your favorite moment? Well, there's no moment bigger for me than when Pavel Bure scored in Game 7 versus the Calgary Flames in round 1. That moment, every time I watch it, just causes me so much joy in my heart. I remember as a young guy, seeing that, the way it worked, being do or die. Game 7, the breakaway, the deke, the goal, everything was absolutely perfect. So this game happened in round 1 in 1994, the epic victory that happened at the Olympic Saddle Dome in Calgary, and it completed a comeback from a 3-1 deficit, which I totally forgot about until, I remember vaguely, but I mean, till I started doing some more research on it. But in game 5, I remember clearly Jeff Courtnall crossing the blue line, and instead of streaking in for a breakaway at the top of the red circle, he had a slap shot and nailed it right over the hand of the Flames goalie Mike Vernon. What a laser! What an OT goal! We stayed alive to force Game 6. Game 6 in overtime again. Pavel Bure, looks like they were on the power play, shot the puck from the point, made the Flames goalie Mike Vernon again make the save, and as Lume was trying to tap it in, chaos ensued, and Trevor Linden found the loose puck and backhanded it in to force a Game 7, and every Canucks fan was pumped. And then we all know what happened in Game 7, because it didn't disappoint. Again, OT, but this time it was double OT. That game was the incredible game that had the save, right? Where Kirk McLean stacked the pads on the 3-on-1 break and saved the day. Fleury had that perfect pass to Robert Reichel. What a save by Captain Kirk. And I know he wasn't captain, but I think they called him that because of not Star Wars. What was the other one? Star Trek, and we are still alive. Then Jeff Brown had that breakout pass to Pavel Bure, and we just all knew when he went in, he was going to score, and he worked his magic, had a glorious goal. That is my favorite moment as a Canucks fan. And there's lots of great moments we can talk about, but my favorite experience, fast forward all the way just a couple years ago, 2024 playoff game, Oilers versus Canucks, May 16th, 2024, Game 5. We're tied with the Edmonton Oilers, and I end up going with my friend Carl. Now, I had this weird feeling as I was pumping out content, my channel was flying at that time, that I'm like, I just had this feeling I'm going to go to a playoff game. I didn't have tickets. I don't know very many people that have season tickets, in fact. And I got a message from my friend Carl, who lives in Nanaimo, 2 days before, and asking me, hey, would you be interested in going to Game 5 with me? I'm like, yes. Oh, actually, he didn't call me. He texted me. I said yes faster than you. It was so awesome. So he said, listen, I'm trying to sell my tickets for this amount of price, but if I don't sell them for that, I'm going to go. And would you like to go with me? And I'm like, absolutely. Cleared my schedule. We ended up going. We didn't have a ferry ride home. That was crazy. So we got the ferry to go over. We went over, we went to the game, and they said, listen, normally we let people go through maybe one overtime if there needs be, but or two, but we're going to leave at this time. But because the weather's so bad, you've got to make a choice. If this game goes into overtime, you either got to find accommodation and come over tomorrow, or hopefully they win in regulation and you can hit the ferry, right? So you guys all know the game's 2-2, and with 31.9 seconds left remaining in the game, Lindholm shot the puck. It went off EP40's skate, and the goalie for the Oilers, Pickard, had to make that reactionary save, and the rebound came out to JT Miller. That's right, JT Miller, who scored a clutch goal and made it 3-2 in the series. What a night. What a feeling. That place was electric. And us who were going home on the ferries were even more excited. Man, I remember walking from the stadium to the ferry, which is only about a 20-minute, 30-minute walk max. Guys, that was just, we were just buzzing. Being on the ferry, we were buzzing. What a great game. Thanks, Carl, for bringing me. My second favorite moment was going to a game when I was a teenager. My youth pastor thought of an incredible idea to do these red-eye trips as we lived in Quesnel, BC. So we go from Quesnel to Vancouver or the Lower Mainland, and this year he decided to have fun. We're going to go to a Canucks game. So we packed out the bus, drove down to see the Canucks play at the Pacific Coliseum versus the New York Rangers. Now, this is the year that the Canucks and the Rangers end up facing each other in the finals. and all the all-stars, all the stars were there. Bure, Linden, Ronning, Lume, Adams. I think Hedican was there, Courtnall, Jelena, McLean. Um, this was pretty cool. Gino Ojic was there, and I couldn't believe how big he was. I was like, wow, I mean, no wonder nobody wants to fight this guy. He's crazy big, right? And then the Rangers had Messier and Leach and Richter and Kovalev and Tikkanen, McTavish, Adam Graves, Jeff Buchum. Actually, again, Jeff Buchum, another monster of a man. But just watching the Russian Rocket live was incredible. A little bit older now. You could just tell he was a special player. Pavel Bure on the power play took a slap shot that just missed the top shelf and rung around the boards all the way to the other end of the rink in like 1 second. And the whole crowd was in awe. And no one's ever going to talk about that moment, but I remember that. I'm going, wow, this guy's amazing. And I don't even remember who won. It was probably the Rangers, but that was a special moment. I got to see my favorite team with my favorite players and some of the best Canucks in the world against some of the best players in the world. I mean, and we held our own. And so it felt like our Vancouver Canucks were finally for real. So I was alive for the Canucks' first ever Finals Cup run in 1982, but I was too young to have watched the games on our 13-inch black and white TV. In fact, I don't even know if we owned a TV back then. In those days, I remember watching that Pavel Bure Game 7 goal at my aunt's house, and that was really fun, my Auntie Darlene. And there were many great other experiences going to games and seeing all kinds of players, which I don't have time today. And I can't wait to get into more content to share with you all. But I can't wait to tell you about my experience of who I watched who I went with. Like going with friends and family is always an awesome experience, going to a sporting event, especially if we win. But I can't wait to tell you the stories I have with my friends Peter and Phil, and that was a playoff game, by the way, against Colorado Avalanche. All my adventures with Steve, Wes, with my family, my wife, my kids, and more. I can't wait to tell you about my fellow content creators that I've met up with as well. So that's in the beginning, and why I became a Canucks fan. So let's move on in this episode 1 to the beginning. Who are my favorite players and why? And I won't take a long time for this, but my favorite players, number 1, of course, Pavel Bure, the Russian Rocket. Not only did he score that OT thriller in Game 7, he was spectacular. Look at his highlight. Just go check out Pavel Bure's top 10 goals of his career is amazing. From the first game, I believe that's that first game when he played and Solani played and they put on a show. We knew those guys were going to be special, and Pavel Bure was absolutely special. Then another favorite player of mine is JT Miller. I just love how he plays playoff hockey in the preseason, in the regular season, and the postseason. I love his compete level. I love his passion for winning. I know there's a lot of mixed feelings when it comes to JT Miller, but I'm a fan. And it really bugs me that he's still not on the Canucks to this day. And I just absolutely loved watching him play. Wow, he was a great addition for us. Now, of course, if you're a Canucks fan, you got to be a fan of the Twins. They took a lot of heat and a lot of criticism over the years. But guys, you think about it. These two kids grown up and met to men in front of our eyes. Man, they were dynamic players. They were the best. They are the best players to ever play on the boards. Both, I believe, end up being MVPs. How they're drafted 2 and 3, how they just turned it on and was dominant and did that cup run to the finals. What's there not to like about the Twins, guys? The nicest guys. Nicest hockey players in the world, potentially. Super skilled, super nice. Yeah, great dudes. And then Quinn Hughes. Quinn Hughes is my favorite defenseman of all time. I know he only played here 6 years, and there's people who are really frustrated with him and call him Quitter Hughes. Hey, listen, I don't blame the guy for wanting to leave this team. This was a disaster. He knew we were going in this direction. But man, guys, we're talking about the greatest defenseman to ever play for us. Watching him skate was just like poetry on ice, guys. He it felt like he was a magician out there on skates. His edge work is unbelievable. His talent, his ability to get out of difficult situations, and I miss watching him play. I feel so blessed to have gone to so many games to watch Quinn Hughes live, and just even on TV, he was just spectacular. And then, I mean, Ryan Kessler and Kevin Bieksa, I just think those guys. How do you not like those guys? They're just great, hilarious guys in the way of like just talking about hockey, and their podcast was hilarious. But just the way they played, and gritty, hardworking, effective. Absolutely loved watching both of them play. And then one of the ones that you might, if you've watched my channel, you know I'm a humongous Zadorov fan. It's a tragedy that we did not have him for long. It really bugs me still to this day that Patrick Alvin lowballed him, and he got offended, and just he ended up going to Boston, even though we ended up offering him the same contract. If you would have handled that better, listen, Nikita Zadorov is just he's Drago from Rocky. Guys, the way he talks, he's hilarious. He answered one of my questions on Hockey Night in Canada. Scott Oak asked one of my questions about, being the intimidation factor and fighting. And if you can go and find that, it's on my X channel there. You can just search it in my thing and you can find it. Love Zadorov. Wish he was still here. I was so mad when we got rid of him, and then we ended up getting Marcus Pettersson. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's a way better defenseman," and I'm like, I don't think so. You don't, that size, that intimidation, you just don't lose it. And he played his best hockey as a Vancouver Canuck, and I just wish he stayed. And then I love Gino Ojek and Donald Brashear. Those are my two favorite fighters. I know there's Rick Rippon and others, Craig Cox and a whole bunch of others have done a top 10 all-time fighters for the Canucks. And so you can go check that out on my YouTube channel as well. But those guys, I love Donald Brashear. Left-handed, just beat guys down. He was the champ of the entire NHL for being the toughest, best fighter in the whole league for a couple years there. And he was awesome to watch. I love watching Gino. I love how the crowd just started cheering that. Speaking of people cheering, Luongo. Woo! Who doesn't like Luongo, man? I know he had let in some soft goals, but we don't talk about Luongo enough. He had 2 shutouts in that finals run. Guys, we lost 4-0 in Game 7, but nobody talks about his 2 shutouts he had. He's the best goalie we've ever had, and it's not. Like, I think Kirk McLean's the only one that's close to that. But Luongo is elite and deserves to get all the accolades that he gets. Now, never won a cup with a team, but won one with as in management, and so with the Florida Panthers. Congratulations to him. 2 other guys I absolutely love: Naslund, Bertuzzi. That wrist shot by Naslund, best thing I've ever seen. I mean, him and Brock Besser, those 2 shots are great. But Todd Bertuzzi, power forward, phenom, size, skill, tough to play against. Loved watching those guys play together. Oh, man. Could talk all day about those guys on the West Coast Express. Then there's Olin and Sammy Salo and Jovanovski on defense. I just loved watching those guys play. Olin for so many years, Salo with the big rocket of a slap shot, Jovanovski hit, scored, did everything you wanted. And then, of course, one of my favorite players, Trevor Linden, and not just because his name is Trevor, but he kind of exudes what a Canuck is like. Hardworking, great guy, effective, put every night, worked hard, blue collar guy, top line center, drafted high, lived up to the hype and the potential. Guy who body checked the guy was at the St. Louis player, went right through the glass. Trevor Linden embodies Vancouver, and love that he's still there and he's contributing to society and to the city. And I still think we should have listened to Trevor Linden and did a rebuild when he said we should have done a rebuild. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things where it's like crazy to think about. Now, if you know me, not only do I love my Canucks and have my favorite players, but I'm a jersey and a hat guy. And some people say I have an obsession or an addiction, which probably is some kind of truth to that. But like hats, like guys, I have over 60, 70, 80 hats. I'm a hat guy. I love wearing hats. I don't like going to work and not being able to wear a hat. I want to wear a hat wherever I go. But my wife, I love hats so much that my wife bought me a suitcase for my hats. Okay. So when I go on vacation, I literally bring this and I literally plan out what hats I'm going to wear. So I stick them out, and I pick out my hats first. And then that's how I pick out my outfits. I go from there and I do all my stuff from there. Isn't that kind of funny? I don't know. Am I weird that way? I love buying hats and they're just so cool. So, and then I made my own. If you watch my channel, I have a bunch of jerseys and I have hats on the wall, and I get compliments on my hats all the time. I even forget which hat I'm wearing, and then so I go on vacation or I go out to the grocery store or wherever, and everyone's like, "I love your hat, man." I'm like, "Thanks." I'm like, "I don't even know which one I'm wearing today." But yeah, I have tons and tons of stuff that's awesome. I don't know how many hats I have now. I don't know, 20, 30, maybe 20 of them. So I'm really picky, but I'm really picky when it comes to hats. Like I just don't, just because it says Canucks, it doesn't mean I want it. And yeah, so, but I've made even my own hats. I've made my own logos and everything. I sell these and only have a few left, but I love the Canucks. I love my channel. I love my fans, all those that support me. And so it's been a lot of fun. And then I'm a jersey guy. Like my first Canucks jersey was a fully stitched white skate Pavel Bure number 10. Unfortunately, it was stolen while I was a teenager from my car. It's really disappointing. So now I have a black skate CCM Pavel Bure jersey right here. White Vancouver Orca. Ryan Kessler, a white Vancouver Orca, Hendrik Sedin with the captaincy, with the playoff patch. I've got 2 Quinn Hughes jerseys, 2 JT Miller jerseys. Both are blue Orca ones and the new black skates. And then I have a gorgeous Mitchell and Ness Todd Bertuzzi jersey. It is probably one of my favorite ones that I have. It's probably goes Pavel Bure and then this Todd Bertuzzi one. And if you're watching on the video right now, I don't have it in front of you, but it's got it. They even put like silver around the numbers, and so it just sparkles a little bit more. But it's a gorgeous jersey. And then I have 1 white Orca blank and 1 blank new skate black jersey as well. And so that's my the beginning of who my favorite players are and why, and give you a little bonus coverage about hats and jerseys. Okay, now the beginning. Why did I start my own Canucks brand? Now, here's the thing. Not only I love talking about the Canucks, but sports in general, but I love having Canuck conversations with people. And I can talk about sports all day, every day. And over the years, I've not only watched millions of hours of sports, but I talk about sports with anyone who's interested in talking about it. And my wife isn't a big sports fan, but I still talk to her about it. She knows that's just my personality and my passion. And she understood that I was a sports fan, but I don't think she really knew. She never knew like how big of a sports fan I was. And when we got married, I watched everything. And if a sport was on, I watched it every single night. Every single night I watched the highlights. And she says, I don't think this is going to be sustainable. You got to pick a couple of sports and just enjoy them. And she was right. I was obsessed. So of course, I'm going to pick hockey and football, especially the NFL. And my third was basketball, which I played in high school. And I've been blessed to coach for about, I don't know, I think 20 plus years now. So I'm a big basketball fan, but I watched that the least out of hockey and football for sure. I dropped baseball, but I'm a huge Blue Jays and Seattle Mariners fan. We can talk about that later, but everything from Ken Griffey Jr. to Ricky Henderson, Joe Carter, all these incredible players. But I used to watch tennis, golf, soccer. I watched everything. Okay, so this has been a lot of information. This is my first ever podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it, but let's be honest, it's going to be continued. I'll be making tons of content, so make sure you hit the like and subscribe if that's what you do on audio podcasts. I think that's what you do. So what is this podcast going to look like going forward? What should I say? What is it going to sound like? Well, I'm really discouraged that our last sports local radio station, Sportsnet 650, was shut down last week. And it happened to the Team 1040 guys 5 years ago, and now it happened again. And I'm gonna miss listening to Donnie and Dolly on the radio, Halford and Bruff, Satyar Shah, all these amazing guys. I love Drance with Canucks Talk, and like there's so many great guys that are on the radio. Obviously, I'm missing a bunch of people. And this is probably like, we don't have coverage on the radio now for Canucks, Whitecaps, BC Lions, and Vancouver Canadians. And I hope all those guys land on their feed and stay in this area because we just love listening to their content. But I thought, hey, this is the time for me. I've been thinking about doing this podcast for years. And this is one of the reasons why it kind of pushed me to start this podcast. Do people even listen to podcasts anymore? I mean, I do. I do. Some people do. A lot of people do, I should think. So I'd love to know if you've listened and where you've listened from. Please post a comment on these podcast platforms or reach out to me on my socials on X, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky. Am I missing something? I feel like I'm missing one. Did I say X? Yeah. So just reach out to me and say, hey man, I listened. And could you do me a favor and just share with your Canucks friends this thing? Like literally this is episode 1. This is day 1 of my audio stuff. I would love for you to let me know, or to share my content with others. That would be awesome. And what I'll do in the future is I'm just going to use my live streams and my videos, and I'm going to make these into episodes. So my content is going to be ripped from there and go. And I know how it works. And I usually do a monologue for about 20 to 25 minutes on my videos. And then I go into questions from the live chat, and they're anywhere from about 40 minutes to an hour long. So if you want to follow Canucks content that is passionate and realistic and honest, please follow my content. You don't have to agree with me, or I don't have to agree with everything that you say either. But can we agree to disagree when there's differences? And can we just be happy that we're loyal Canuck fans? We're a passionate fan base. And this is my pet peeve, okay, before I leave. Let me do one last. I love to rant. But all these people that say Canuck fans were the worst, they were the most toxic, it's just a lie. It's just a lie. Every fan base has toxic and brutal fans and people who shouldn't even be on the internet, in my opinion. But they have free will and free choice, and they had enough money to get a phone or a computer and pay for their internet. And they're allowed to say whatever they want. It's a free country. But our fan base is not the worst fan base in the world. We have so many loyal, faithful fans. And I'm proud to be a Canucks fan. Do we have some dark stains on this franchise, on this fan base with the riots and all that kind of stuff? Absolutely. But we also have amazing, amazing fans and people who support this team. So as I conclude today, as I end this first ever episode, I want to encourage you to believe in blue. Let's get excited about this Canucks rebuild, because I am. And let's cheer this team on. Okay? Go, Canucks. Go.